this is what I tell them. This is what gets me up in the morning. This guy is Brian. Brian's awesome. So you can tell Brian's a big guy. I kind of like, compared to him, but he has lost something like 80 pounds since I started working with him 2 years ago. So, I mean, he couldn't even walk a step, or run a step. I mean, he was like, we do our first workout, and it's jog a minute, walk 2 minutes, times 5, and he could barely make that minute. I mean, he's done 5-mile trail races. It takes him a long time, but he does 5-mile trail races. He's got his girlfriend he lives with, Missy, involved. Missy ran 200 miles last month now in the challenge. She's lost 80 pounds. She's run half marathons. I mean, and not that you have to do that stuff, but and they do it as a family too. So his son was involved and his daughter was involved. And for me, that's more powerful than anything, right? And again, those people are sending us customers. They are spending money in the store, which helps our bottom line, and it doesn't even have to feel like you're selling something to someone like that, because they walk in and they trust you so much, and we have that kind of relationship. Brian will come in and be like, Adam, what shoes do I need? It doesn't matter how much it costs. And I can just be like, Brian, you need these, and he knows I'm honest with him, and it always works out well. So that's what we do at Shoes and Feet, is in terms of a clear mission. And I can't emphasize enough how important that mission is. So again, going back to those churches, if Nelson and I have had this conversation before, like a lot of these big Christian churches that grow to like 30,000 people, they just have a clear mission. Come to this church and we'll save you, like Jesus saves, right? That's a very clear marketing mission. I know it's religion for a lot of people, and I'm very respectful of that, but it's a marketing position, right? People come to that because they want to be drawn to that, versus a church, where the religion that I grew up in, the Unitarians, which are kind of like, well, we kind of believe in this, but if you don't want to believe it, that's okay because we respect it. And who wants that, right? You want something that's going to really be powerful and motivating for you. So that's what it's all about. So making sure you have an absolutely crystal clear vision for what you're doing. That's the thing I'm most passionate about, by the way, can you tell? So, all right, because from there it's just tactical. To accomplish great things, but must not only act but dream, not only plan but believe, and also getting out there and just making sure your tactics line up with your what you're doing with your customers. So once we know our customer, which we've defined, we know our mission in the world, which is we're trying to change their lives. The last thing is just knowing where to find them. So so when we're trying to get our medical people, we know we got to go through doctors. We go to doctors' offices. I spend my weekends hanging out at podiatry conferences. You guys know what a podiatrist is? What they do? They're like a foot doctor. They cut toenails and look at bunions all day long. So I spend weekends talking about bunions and hammer toes and toenails and stuff like that with these guys and women. They're great people. But we do that. We send emails to them. We kiss the butt of their office staff. Like, we give them special discounts. So because we know the secretary at our medical facility is more important than the doctor. So if whether it's a man or woman, say at the front office, that person, we really kiss their butt. We give them big discounts. So if you want big discounts at the shoe store, work for a doctor. So we do these nights where we have other doctors come in. We go to senior expos. So we're really out targeting. We don't spend any money on this marketing in the paper, on TV, on the radio. It would be a complete waste of money. So making sure that what we do in terms of marketing aligns with what we're doing. The newbie runner, we sponsor these fun runs and races. We organize them. We put on a turkey trot once a year. We're putting on, which everyone should definitely come to, a glow run sponsored by Petty Coins, which is an Irish pub in Bellevue. Glow stick run at night. It's gonna be a lot of fun. A lot of families and beginners go to that. We do our beginners running group, which I talked about. Social media wise, we do Facebook as a big thing. So I know it's funny how my daughter, who's 10, has Musical.ly and Instagram. And she's been like begging us for that, right? Those are like her big things. I don't think she even realizes what Facebook is. She's gonna I feel like Facebook is like the old dude kind of thing. Is that true? So what's that? Yeah. Yeah, for you guys it's like completely Facebook. That's where people put pictures of their kids. God. But for our customer, because of that, it is our #1 channel. So we have Instagram, we have Twitter, we have all that stuff, but Facebook is like, that's where it's at. And if I was to and that's just aligning, understanding where our customer is. So again, if you're, depending on what business you're getting into, if you're trying to start a lifestyle apparel brand, well, yeah, Instagram is where you go. But if your customer base is a little older, you gotta be on Facebook, you know, and understanding that difference is really big. Someone's said you're not knowing how to talk to your customer earlier, and that's so important. And then, you know, creating community for these people. That's the, you know, that's what we do. You know, we make them feel like they've got a home. You know, going back to Tiana, you know, I mean, she was, you know, it's hard. Yeah, she's only like too personal with her, like her life. But you know, she really didn't have a lot of friends and you know, a lot of confidence. And we've created this community where she is loved as much as any, you know, any place she could be, and that is so important to her that she sends us all her friends. You know, so that's what we do with that side of it, to really create that community. How are we doing? Questions, any of that stuff? Sorry, something. Remember, I give prizes for t-shirts. I give one too. So they're all gonna go to Nelson if you guys don't ask questions. So, and I know he likes free t-shirts.
Free stuff. Remember, I talked about free stuff.
He's a runner. He likes free stuff. Discounts.
Well, smart aleck response is not spelled right.
What's that?
Pursuing is not spelled.
Oh no, yeah, I was typing fast last night. Sorry about that.
Well,
Did I? Yeah, I was like, last night I tried to finish this, so. And I'm a
but you got it right the second time.
I'm a terrible speller. That's the problem too.
So-
So that's okay. Thank you. So you're all right. No socks. You want a hat? You want- Good. I had a hat. Okay.
By the way, it's a new brand, right? Talk about
Yeah,
that
that's
brand.
361, which is the new athletic. It's a brand new athletic brand. So it's just on the last couple of years. Actually, the worldwide in China, they're the #2 brand in Nike, but no one's ever heard of it. They just started selling in the US. 361, yeah. You should check them out. And that's it. In my world, like so I'm wearing like these shoes are Solomon's. I don't sell Solomon's, but Solomon sent them to me to test because they want me to sell them in the store. Like, I like free stuff. I like free shoes.
Benefit
and
of
the
working
benefit of
in
what
a
you
shoe
do,
store.
right? I would be lying also. Like all the emotional stuff about my customers. I mean, and I love that stuff. And I like part of my job is that I get lots of free stuff, lots of free shoes. You know, that's part of the fun. So, you know, and then now we're just kind of, you know, trying to constantly seek new opportunities. So again, like, you know, one of the things that cause people to fail is their, you know, not going out and seeking new opportunities. So, you know, again, this year, you know, we came up with an idea. Well, actually, it's a repeat of an idea in the East Coast, but that Northwest Winter Challenge was that run or walk every day in January challenge, which was really awesome. We had an app that people, so it was very, very modern in a way, you know, an app. We had all this interactive marketing on Facebook. It was really cool. It meant a lot to people. I mean, again, for my part of my brain that loves the mission part, I had people emailing me saying, you know, I am in better shape than I've ever been in my life after January. I walked with my kid every day in January. You know, I'm going through cancer treatment and this helped me get through it in January. You know, that's part of it. And then they paid to be a part of that, right? So I mean, people paid $31 to be a part of this challenge. So not only as a businessman did I take in lots of money from this, which is important to do, and you can't be a nonprofit when you're in business. So when we want to make money, but we made money and we changed people's lives, and that's like the best of both worlds with that. And so it was a new thing we did this year. It was really awesome. The Glow Run that we're doing is something totally new. It's just an opportunity where we say, hey, there's no St. Patty's Day race in Bellevue. Let's make one. Let's do it. Talk to people who own Patty Coins, which is a pub in downtown Bellevue. We're going to do a race with them. The stuff down there is t-shirts that we design. So we design t-shirts. So part of my job, I actually am a t-shirt designer. So like this one that I'm wearing with it's kind of like the rip-off of Patagonia logo with the shoe. I mean, it's stuff that I sit around and do on the computer designing t-shirts. I should have brought it. This one looks like a Jack Daniel's whiskey label, but it says trail running and stuff. Pretty cool. So anyway, so we design t-shirts. And we source all our t-shirts directly instead of like getting it from Screen Print or anyone else. And we do it all ourselves, and we make a lot of money doing that. But we also have a lot of fun with that part of it. And so my job ends up being a ton of fun because, you know, I'm designing. It's like now I'm designing t-shirts for a living. It's so cool. So we do this thing called the Yellow Shirt Club with our customers right down here. So we give people a yellow shirt to be a better part of our training group, and then every time you do a 5K or you do a race, we bring the t-shirt press out, we stamp on a new circle. So now we've got people who are filling up the back of the shirts. We have people coming back to the store just to do that. And when they do that, they feel good about themselves. Something to show off to their friends. They often will buy something when they come into the store. So it works for everybody, you know. So that's that new bit of just thinking of those opportunities that are out there and not just having your business as stagnant as possible.
It's kind of like a passport, right?
Yeah.
Think of It's a great idea. It's pretty innovative. Now, you mentioned bring the T-shirt stamp out. A lot of stores will outsource, and what you guys did, what, like 2 years ago?
Yeah, we insource. We do it everything. We have our heat press. We get the shirt and we put these things we put directly on the shirt ourselves. We just skip the middleman, and part of that is because it's fun to do. So I mean, you lie, but
You can kind of do what you want.
You do what you want, but
invested in the capital there.
If you wholesale the shirts, it's cheaper. If you make your own transfers, it's cheaper. So again, talking about the margin between what it costs you and what you sell. I can make a shirt for $5 and sell for $25. So I made $20 on a shirt, and that's a really high margin. I mean, you have to make a margin to make business work. You're not doing it for free. So the lower you get your costs, the higher margins and stuff like that. So we're continually striving to do that. So we took it all in house, and so in my office, is a shirt press, and we make shirts. We do them sometimes one at a time, sometimes 300 at a time, and we go out to races and we sell them in our store, and we do, it's like another little niche business that we've built for ourselves over the last couple of years that I think is really cool. So. And it's been a way, and it's been a real great opportunity to kind of grow. I've always wanted to do a t-shirt brand. I've tried and failed before because I haven't had the right kind of circumstance, And so I remember No Stopping Monday when I first moved to Seattle. That t-shirt thing I did. Do you remember that?
I remember that.
It's not memorable.
No, I remember the phrase. I think you had the t-shirt.
It
right?
wasn't
the
memorable.
hats. You have them on your hats. And
I
stuff.
failed miserably. But
well, you did. Also, you were very successful with Turkey Trot, right?
Yeah, Turkey Trot we did this year was amazing.
300 and
we had 400 people sign up.
400 people sign up.
Yeah, 330 I think in the adult one, and another bunch of kids. So.
And it was if you remember Thanksgiving morning, it was wet, and they had to move the course because the blueberry farm was flooded. But it was great. I mean, you had a lot of.
And we gave money to charity with that, which was awesome. We gave money to the Renewal Food Bank in Bellevue, which is a charity that helps people who obviously need to get food, like a food bank. So again, found an opportunity. We needed no turkey trot in Bellevue. We put it out there. We got a bunch of people to sign up. We made a lot of money for our business. We gave a lot of money to charity, which made me feel really good, and it wins for everybody, But finding that right opportunity out there, to do it, So. If there was already a turkey trot in Bellevue, I wouldn't have done it, but there wasn't that, so that was the opportunity to go out and get after that one.
There's actually no runs in Bellevue. I mean, there used to be the Autism in April and then the Bellevue run in September, and now you've got a third and a fourth run.
Yeah, the problem is Bellevue charges too much money for the permits.
It's very difficult, expensive.
So anyway, it's kind of for the presentation. This is where I'm supposed to give you this amazing final thought that's gonna charge you up for the rest of your day, rest of your life, But if you look at my career, I've done a lot of things. I've been a party planner, I've been a meeting planner, I've been a teacher, I've been a footwear product manager, I've been in consulting, and I know I seem really old to you guys because I've got a big long beard and stuff like that, and there's lots of gray. But I feel like I've only been in the working world for 20 years. I'm 42. When I graduated from college, I was 22. So I've only worked for 20 years. Yet I've had all those careers, And but the common theme with all those, besides a lot of marketing, is each one of them was something that I really just took seriously. Each job I had, I took seriously, and just really trying to get the most out of it. And again, I was thinking about Nelson was talking about this being kind of a career-oriented class trip. The thing is, I think the idea of trying to figure out what you want to do when you grow up is one of those hard things. So I decided not to grow up and work in a shoe store. But that's you can go down so many paths in your lives, but what you got to do with each path is just make sure you get the most out of it. When I work I hire, and unfortunately we have to, and in my life I've had to fire and let people go, and the good ones are the ones that are really good employees and good people, and I know when I've been at the best when I've worked is when I've really dug in and got the most out of it, even if it's the worst job ever. I've had jobs. I had a job for a week where I was cold calling older people for long-term care insurance. It was the most miserable job that I had. I used to have to dial 100 or so numbers a day and try to talk people into buying long-term care insurance. But I learned a ton about sales in that. I worked in a market research consulting firm where I used to look at 30,000 lines of data day and sitting in an office that was like as big as this room. I had my own office that was like big as this room, and it was the most miserable experience of my life outside of the cold calling. And, but I got a lot out of it. So each one of these things I kind of got a lot out of, and so, when I go to hire younger people, or any people, when they're just like, you want people that are just gonna try to get the most out of it, because it doesn't matter what you're gonna do next, you're always gonna bring something to the table to the next one, so whatever job it is, like if I didn't have a job right now, I would literally go work at Starbucks and just get the most out of it, because I know I would learn something from that, and I think the idea is you think as a career, like I'm gonna go again from zero to Taylor Swift, and that never happens, like it's gonna be a progression. You're gonna go up. I mean, I've done that in my career, gone up, made a lot of money, gone down, I've lost a job, I've been hired for jobs, I've had to quit for like strange reasons. It's like, that's the way your career is, And so, but at each moment, if you're not getting the most out of it, and you're not, focused on doing that, then it's just gonna be kind of a miserable ride for you, So I just tell you to engage as much as I can. So that's my final thought, I guess. I don't know. So that's it. Questions?
What's the best advice you can give for an entrepreneur when you face failure?
Have a party. Failure is awesome. I mean, because you learn so much from failing. That so you don't want to you don't want to start something and just totally like willy-nilly go after things and fail, But if you've done your research and you failed, then you can go back and figure out where you failed, and that's the best. Like I said, like I started to move to Seattle. I was like, well, I'm gonna try to start a t-shirt brand, and I just didn't really kind of work out. And I look back and I'm like, okay, the message wasn't that clear. I can kind of look back and say why that was bad, and that was great because now I'm much better at doing t-shirts. So fail as much as you can. So you're only gonna learn from failing. So, but don't do it willy-nilly. So that's no good. So you're not gonna learn anything. That helps.
What pushed you onto like running or athletic stuff? Because if you say you graduated college with religion, and then like say you start working for like Inbound, that can
Yeah.
a business.
Yeah, well, I've been a runner my whole life, and so I've just been into it. So I, got started running when I was in 7th grade, running track, and started running cross country in high school when the older kids in the cross country team threatened to beat me up if I didn't join the cross country team. So it was just kind of comical because they probably weighed about 105 pounds and I weighed about 90 pounds. And they literally the seniors on the team took me to the woods behind the school and told me they'd beat me up if I did soccer instead of cross country. So I said, well, all right. But I ended up being a state champion in cross country and just going to Princeton and running there. I mean, so it just kind of, so it's always been a passion of mine. And so, that's a big thing. I know a lot of like career advice people there, they tell you to follow passion. I think that's 100% true, provided the passion has a way to make money. A lot of people follow their passions, but those passions are not monetizable. So, or they're not following the way they can make it money. So I still run, I still race, I run ultramarathon. I'm gonna run a 40-mile run around Mount St. Helens this summer. I mean, I love running, so I'm just so passionate about it. But so that's why I got into it. Was that I chose religion because at the time when I was 18, well, there's a couple reasons. One, my first religion class I took because a really cute girl asked me to take it with her. So that happens in life. But then I loved the class so much that I ended up getting another professor and getting to know kind of the religion department at Princeton. And just I was 20 and I really wanted to find something I could get through college with. So it was either problem sets or religion. I really was passionate about it. The thing about religion though is, and here's the thing about like undergraduate majors too. A lot of people get really hung up on them. And the thing is, like, you can go to grad school, you can do lots of things, but the best thing is you want to be engaged because you want to teach yourself how to think. So being a religion major got me engaged in school, and so that was the best thing for me to do at the time, is to do that. So being engaged in school is super important. So your parents always want you to. I mean, my mom is. Has never understood what I've done because my older brother's a doctor, right? And you get that if your family. You've got older siblings. If you're a younger sibling, your older sibling sucks because they're always perfect, right? And that's my older sibling. He's a doctor. He married a doctor, and had a clear career path, But for me, I wanted to find things I can engage in. I think it's important. Again, you want to make sure you can make some money off of that eventually, or you want to be able to. So I look at like religion it helps you understand cultures, and if you can understand cultures and people, you're much more likely to be able to do marketing well and do sales, because if you know, I can understand better where people are coming from, you know, or if I know something about their lives, it makes me able to connect with them better, you know. So I spend a lot of time I think understanding cultures is super important for what I do for a living. So it all kind of, again, so that's how it plays in. So, you know, you look at that and say, oh, it's disconnected, but to me, it's all part of that career path that kind of got me to be successful at what I do.
He is the Pacific Northwest Trail champion, right? What's the official title?
Just the Northwest Trail Runs
Winter Series champion. And you ran the was it the Northeast Half Marathon Championship you were telling me?
Yeah, well, yeah, I've just done a lot of write-downs.
He's fast.
A lot of that stuff, yeah.
Or like runners would love to be anywhere near what he's done. So
Yeah.
What's your fastest mile time? I had to ask.
I don't remember. I don't write everything down, so I don't remember exactly. But it's like 4:06, 4:07, something like that. I wasn't really a miler, so I wasn't. I mean, you know, like big cream of the crop for mileage, break 4 minutes. So, low 4s, you know.
What do you have to do to like organize a run in like Bellevue?
Well, big thing is you got to get a permit from the city of Bellevue to do it. So that's number one. So, you know, you have to. So if you have an idea for a run, you gotta, you know, like anything else, you would go through the steps of like you're launching a business. So I've seen a lot of people launch road races, and this is what they do. They go, you know, they're like, oh, my friend is at this charity where they protect dolphins, and I really, really want to give money to a charity that protects dolphins. So we're gonna do a road race in 2 Saturdays. You know, and then they go around and they try to get people to sign up for it, and they don't understand why people are not as interested in protecting dolphins as they are, or whatever. They don't have the time to do it, and so, and you gotta treat it like a business. You know, if you want to do a road race, you know, you would say you couldn't do one in less than a year and be successful. You know, not just you in particular, but anyone. Like if anyone wants to, you want the planning process is a year of understanding the market, understanding the other races, understanding the city of Bellevue and what they require, going through the permitting process, setting up your marketing, doing all that stuff, you know. So it takes a lot, but the big thing is the permit, because those can be as low as $80 and as expensive as $3,000 depending on, you know, what you do for it. So what I do, like with the city of Bellevue, is I send them like these really detailed PowerPoints about down to like where each cone is going to be placed, you know, and you know. But before I've even done that, I've also done, you know, work to make sure that it's there's a niche for it or something. So yeah. Do you want to start one? No.
You had that race a couple years ago from you were at another store, which you might want to talk about. You don't have to say the store or anything, but just the I mean the experience of how a business is run where you are now versus where you have been. You had that. And I thought it was a great race, a lot of fun. Relay race up at the brewery up.
Yeah, Red Hook.
Red Hook.
Yeah.
A marathon relay.
That was a good idea, that race.
Yeah, it was a great idea, great race, great course. It was a little expensive, and just not. You said you were not able to market it.
Yeah.
Like you would have liked.
Yeah. Yeah, because the business wasn't into marketing.
Yeah. So he's a solid stud runner, but you were saying he's
Eric, yeah, so he's in that category of just not understanding how to. Doesn't clearly, you know, this other running star worked at it, and it's a great guy. This guy owns it, but was, you know, just was a hobbyist. Wasn't trying to make a lot of money. You know, he just was kind of there, and so he didn't really understand his customer. He just kind of said, "Oh, I'm gonna have runners come in," and didn't understand how to tactically go after runners, and you know, all that stuff. It's just all the stuff I talked about is, you know, just not. A lot of people just think they can set up shop, open a door, and they're going to be so awesome, you know. Like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. We've got awesome products. People are going to come, totally, you know. And you see that so much, you know, like just people just think, you know, thinking they've got such a great idea, and everyone else is going to think it's a great idea, you know. And you know, there are a lot of great, but you got to tell people about it. We say at business school, it's like you can't just build a better mousetrap. You know, actually tell people about it. You know, figure out a way to market it and do all this stuff to do it. You know, a lot of running stores, in fact, about 20% of the U.S.'s running stores have closed over the last 5 years, and because of market pressures, because people are going to the internet and other places, but partially because of just, can I say crappy in here? Crappy business owners. They don't know how to run a business. You know, they're just hobbyists. They love shoes. Like I love shoes, but you know, I want all now. I also got some of the kids in college. So
There is some view that I eagerly wonder if it's true that if you always run on the road, those very hard ground, you will hurt your knees, and which is bad for health. Is it true? Or?
no, it's kind of like the little wives' tales. Yeah, there's a lot of these old wives' tales about running being bad for your knees. There's a study done a couple years ago in somewhere in Scandinavia with like 75,000 people, and they found that people who are exercising, and particularly runners, had like a much lower rate of like knee arthritis and knee problems and things like that. What's bad for your knees is not being in good shape and then going out and running too far, too fast and stuff like that, and that can be bad. But yeah, no, it's just a lot of those things. Running being bad for your knees is not true at all. You know, I mean, yeah. So if I have a preference, I feel like it feels better on my body to run trails, so I only run on trails. But yeah, a lot of those. There's so many of those. I mean, tales about people they come up with. Running's bad for your knees, and I can't run because of my knees. Oh, we hear that so much, and it's just like, I don't know. In my biomechanical world, it's like those thoughts are so like last century, you know. So, and then it's like just read something. So, and if it drives me crazy, doctors say that all the time. Doctors are the worst. You know how many, like when I was injured, I used to be like, after college, I was a really competitive runner. I was still trying to run at kind of like at a national level. And I would go to these doctors with injuries, and they'd be like, "Well, stop running, it's bad for your knees." You know, and you're like, "Hopefully you went to medical school for that."
And usually they're like very large. I've had, when I was in college, I was like 20, had a hip injury. The doctors, I mean, he was quite large, but he was telling me, "Oh, you just shouldn't run." Like, well, okay, but that's not an answer.
That's what they always say. And don't run. No. So yeah, a lot of that stuff has changed. That's what you got to kind of keep up on. You know, it's like, you know, for me, like, so another part of my job is the biomechanics. So I spend a lot of time on reading. There's a blog called Run Research Junkie. Is this podiatrist in I think he's in New Zealand. I like a lot. I read his blog. It's called the Gait guys, GAIT guys, and I read their blog and listen to their podcast a lot and just kind of staying up. I mean, that's what I do in the car is listen to that stuff and think about, you know, and I didn't want to get into it in this because it's really not that exciting, but it's like, you know, like I spent a lot of time with the bones of the feet and a lot of time understanding tendons and tendon attachments and all that stuff. And what's that?
How's it pronounced? Is it cuneiform, or is it, I'm sure there's other ways to pronounce it.
Yeah, I say cuneiform, but you know, like, I also like, I very much with the bones of the feet, I say the cuneiform is what I said, but there's so many, but I find that like, when you're, depending on the region of the country you're in, with even these medical terms, there's like so many different pronunciations and ways people say stuff, it's kind of unbelievable, so, yeah, that's just like one of the bones of the feet, but that's, you know, that's what I do also, is just think about that. So, not as much fun as t-shirts, but, you know, also, that's what pays the bills, you know, is understanding that stuff. So, and that's why, it's why, you know, in a pitch for especially running, that's why people should shop at, you know, especially running store. If they really care about staying healthier, they should shop at some place where they know what they're talking about. Because, you know, you go online and, you know, I read so many of these blogs. I mean, people in there like, you know, anyone can put up a website. I can go to Weebly and put up a blog website and be a blogger. And, you know, people spit the most, like, ridiculous crap out about stuff that it's like they never read anything. So, if people read it and they come to the store and they're like, well, I saw on the internet that blah, 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 you know. So, you gotta be a little more thoughtful of that. Yeah. So.
Anybody else have questions or?
Yeah, you said earlier that you get a lot of business from doctors' referrals, but like, how do you talk to doctors in a way that doesn't make you sound like a lunatic that'll kill their patients if it sounds?
Well, I think a lot of it is just being knowledgeable. So I'd say it back up. So no matter what business you're in, you know, approaching and doing kind of sales calls, you know, there's things you should do and you should not do, whether it's a doctor or anything. And, you know, so one of the big things you got to do, whether it's a doctor or anything, when I go to visit a doctor's office and I get in to talk to the doctor, is, you know, it's kind of like dating in a way. Like, no one's going to date with someone who constantly talks about themselves. right? So when you go to that, you wanna ask them about who are your patients and how long you've been in business, and you really gotta get to know them. Cause you wanna know, kind of what they're like, and then you can kind of tailor that. And then from there, a lot of it's just being knowledgeable about what you're doing, So if I hire someone at this store, they're not going to a doctor on the first day, because it takes, years to get to that level of knowledge, But it's knowing what you're talking about. So, but that goes with anyone, in any sales context, it's just being knowledgeable about it, so you seem relevant, you seem, legitimate to them, And so and it's funny, because like, when you speak to podiatrists, they want to know more about business stuff. So they'll ask you about margins, and they'll ask you about business stuff. So I know going to talking to a podiatrist, I can talk about business. Physical therapists, for some reason, have this like chronic complex, like they're not good enough, and so they like to talk in big, like they like to use the fancy names, So it's fine, like the doctors, the podiatrists will actually be okay, like, we'll be like, yeah, this thing, that thing, and a physical therapist will be like, they've got posterior tibia tendonitis, I mean, come on, like, and I'll be like, oh, here we go, So you kind of got to understand, like,
Shin splints.
yeah, how each one of them talks, and then talk in their language. So, yeah, does that help? Does that answer that question? Yeah. So that goes back to what I was saying about like culture. Like, if you understand someone's culture, you understand where they're coming from, you can talk to them because you've spent the time, and they know you've spent the time because you've done the research and you've done the work. And you don't just, another one of those things about entrepreneurs that drives me crazy. I mean, I had friends one guy tried to start this like healthy food delivery business. He had never worked in food, ever. He just was like, oh, organic food should be really big, so I'm gonna do it, and he ended up basically like losing everything, and all he had left was a car full of organic food, because he didn't know anything about it, It's like, that's so, having that knowledge is just big, so making sure you're ready and prepared. So I never go anywhere without, like being like, and taking those notes, like when I go to a doctor, I'm like, okay, I know how many they've referred in the last year, I know who they've referred, I know what they've referred for, I know what insoles they like, I know what shoes they like, I know that stuff. So make sure that I don't leave anything untapped. So that's hard. I'll get a doctor's office hard, because there you gotta get to their secretary. Their secretaries are hard to get through. So yeah, kiss that secretary. So I said, work for a doctor. You get people like me give you free shoes all the time. So I have to do.
Anybody else have questions? Catherine, get socks?
Did I break it?
Or a t-shirt, or I don't know, whatever he's got left.
You asked a question. If I missed anyone, press it.
Anybody else? Did we miss Fred?
I'd like some stuff.
You can also have a t-shirt. Do you want a t-shirt?
So what do you like, Fred? T-shirt, socks?
What size is t-shirts?
Large, extra large. You don't look like an extra